Welcome back. This is another lesson. So today we are starting on HTML. So we're going to look at what HTML is. So the initials HTML stand for Hypertext Markup Language. So HTML is not a real programming language where you can maybe make decisions or loops or save stuff in the database. So you cannot do this with HTML. HTML is purely presentational, and this is not to mean that it's not important. It's very important to the web. In fact, any website you've ever seen was definitely created with HTML. So when you open a page, it sends the HTML over to your computer, and then your browser displays it. So HTML is very important, and actually, since it's not an actual language, it's also very easy to learn. Okay, so it's used to make web pages, also called web documents, and we can consider it the building block of the web. Okay, let's move on. So what we need to start is a web browser. So you can choose any web browser except Internet Explorer. So this is usually default on all Windows systems. So don't use this. So you can use Chrome preferably, or Mozilla. If you're using Mac, that's Apple computers, you can get Safari, and it's also good. Microsoft Edge is also new, but it's also okay. A text editor where we will write our code. So the best I can say is Visual Studio. So if you have that, that's okay. But if you have the rest, still okay. So make sure you have these. And if you don't know how to install Visual Studio Code, click the link above over here, and you'll see a video on how to install Visual Studio. Okay, so now we need to create an HTML file. So in the previous lessons we learned about extensions, and seemingly our HTML file will end with .html as its extension. So this will run in the web browser. So the web browser will recognize this as a web page and display it. So, and our first file will be called index.html, which is also the root or home page of our website. So if you name a file index, it will be the first to be opened as a home page. So the server already knows what to do. So when it encounters index, it just opens it as the home page. Okay, so we can see how to do that. Let's go to our Visual Studio, which is this. So you remember this is what we did yesterday. So alongside here, let's create a new folder by right clicking here and selecting new folder. So let's call this day 01. So no spaces, and make it all caps. Okay, so in here is where we want to create our index file. New file, small caps, index.html. Then press enter, and now we have our HTML page here, and we are ready to start. So let's look at how to write HTML code. The first thing we should look at is how the structure is made. So HTML is not very complicated. Web pages are not very complicated. As long as this file has this extension .html, it's going to be opened from a web browser. So we can write anything here like hello world. Then as this is indicating, you can see there's a white dot that appears there. Means I've not saved my file, so saving is there, or Control S. So you can either come here and click save, or from your keyboard hold Control and then tap on S. So which is what I like doing. So I'm going to press Control S on my keyboard, and we'll notice that the file is now saved. Otherwise, if you don't want to keep doing that, you have an option to set Visual Studio to save for you every time you make a change by clicking this autosave option here, okay, which is still fine. Okay, so next we want to run this file on a web browser. So let's fetch it from the folders here. So also notice that when you create a folder here or here, it's just the same because Visual Studio is pointing on this folder. So you can either create it from here or from here. Okay. So now we want to run that file. So this, fetch a browser. So this is my browser here. Then I'm going to drag it inside there. And also I'm going to resize my Visual Studio so I can see them side by side. So you can see that HTML index.html is being displayed by this browser here, which is Google Chrome, and it's just words. So whenever we write HTML, we write it by surrounding the content with tags, and this is the syntax of the tags. So the tags take this form. So the tag name is usually surrounded by angle brackets. So that's the first tag name. The content goes in between, and then this is the last tag name. So this and this belonging to a single element must be identical, except for this / here. So that signifies that this is the closing tag name. So normally they come in pairs, start tag and end tag, or you can also call them opening tag and closing tag. So let's see that in action. Fetch the browser also there. So let's see what happens if we surround our content here, hello, with a special tag called h1, which means heading 1. So let's see that. So I come here, surround it with h1. Then over here, let me squeeze, let me make some space there for it to be visible. So then here, h1. So immediately after, so the ID is very, this ID is very smart because it knows you want to close. So immediately you put the opening angle bracket and a slash. It assumes you want to close this and does so for you. So after that, I had set it on autosave, so it's saved. All I need to do is come here and refresh my browser, and you can see that it's different. So in any website you open and press Ctrl+U, you'll usually see its code. Any website you open and you'll see that it's HTML. Okay, so let's review the other headings, which are from H1 all the way to H6. So let's see H2. You can see the browser is also closing it up for me because you must have to. And as a word of advice, when you're starting HTML, do not copy code like this. You first write this, then you write what you wanted here, and then you come and finish. This is a very bad practice. The best practice is first finishing the tag, the whole tag, so that way you are sure you'll never forget to close. So just like that, hello world. Let's go on to H4. Okay, H5. So the higher the number, the smaller the text. Then lastly H6. Then it's already saved. All I need to do is refresh here, and you can see it goes on reducing. So the text is bold and it's used as a heading. Okay, so let's try H7 because there isn't H7, so we can see that it doesn't exist. In fact, you can see it's coloring a different color to show you that it doesn't exist. So if we wrote this hello world as an example, it will just be normal text. So normal text looks like that without any markup around it, you can see. Okay, so there's no H7, all you have is up to H6. Since we've removed this, we refresh and also reflects here that we've removed. So we are missing a very vital code here, first of all, although it's working. But in every HTML document, you should declare, there's some things you should declare here so that it can run well on all browsers. So let's first remove this and look at what we are missing. So we are missing the HTML page structure, which should look like this. So the tags HTML and HTML, so you can see they're just the same. Angle brackets, then the tag name inside, then here this /, then the same tag name. So this is a start tag for HTML and this is the end tag. So you can also call it opening and closing tag. Okay, so these ones encompass the whole page. So let's first put those. So we have HTML, then HTML, then press enter for that. So you can see immediately we press enter, the cursor brings us one tab inside. So you remember how what a tab is the button for putting this bunch of white spaces here. So it's meant for us to indent our work so that we always see each tag with its closing on the same line. So like this. So this will make sense as we go. So let's see next. Next is head. So head section here. We add the head section where the cursor has automatically brought us. So head, press enter. So you can see again, immediately we go in, it brings us a tab inside. So now here we are two tabs inside. So this is one tab, these are two tabs. So let's introduce another tag here called the title. So this is what's responsible for labeling this area here, the tag on the browser window. So whatever you write inside this title tags, it comes here. So let's demonstrate that. So title must go into the head section because it's not part of the content. So title, so say my first, let me make this slightly bigger so it can fit my first HTML document. Okay, so now when we refresh this, you can see that we have this there, and the H1s have disappeared because we removed them from here. So this is how you label that with the title tag. Okay, so that's it for the head section. So let's come there. So again, this and this will be on the same level, because if it was inside here or inside anything else, it would have gone another tab more right. So since head and our next tag are on the same level, they get to be on the same line. So which is our next? It's the body. So the body will encompass the whole content. So everything that will go in here must be inside the body tags. So as you can see here, the body, then the content is the white area here. So let's put the body tag, body, and the closing tag, and then we press enter. So everything we write must go in here. So we know very well that nothing should be beyond here. Nothing should be beyond these two. So these are the last and these are the first. So we can also give this a name. We can call this part the header and can call this part the footer. So now next, all our content will have to go one tab inside like that. So now these are 1, 2 tabs. Okay, so we had written a bunch of H1 headings, so let's add them in. So H1, hello world. So let's just repeat that, make that doubly big. Since we know H1s is just H1 up to 6, we can copy paste these. So I'm gonna hold on shift, then press end to automatically highlight that, then Control C to copy. then the right arrow to unselect, then I press enter to come below there, then I press Ctrl V to paste again. So I'll paste up to 6, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So don't worry about this going down, all this space, it doesn't matter to the browser. So then next I'm going to choose these and just change to 2. Also there's another trick, so you don't have to immediately grab all this, but if you want, they are very useful tricks. So for example, for this IDE here, you can select similar letters or characters. So let's say, for example, I highlight one here over here. So I've highlighted one, then I hold on Control, then press D once. It's going to select the other character that's the same as that one. So if I continue pressing that, it will highlight all of them. But in this case, I just want the first 2 so that I can edit them at the same time. So let me copy one, hold Control, press D. So you can see it has highlighted those ones. So now I just press 3 to replace that with 3. So the next, let me do that also for this. Control D, replace that with 4. So you can see learning these shortcuts makes your work very easy and makes you very productive and quick at it. Okay, Control D, then 6. So I have all 6 headings. Let me check out my browser now. Let me refresh, and we are back where we are with the correct HTML declarations here, the header and the footer here. Okay, so we had another tag here. So we said that the whole of it, whether it's this, or this, the whole of it is called an element, but each of these is called a tag. And the first one is called the start tag, the other one is called the end tag. You can also call them the opening tag or the closing tag. And the names are usually identical, with the last, the end one having a / here before the name here. So P is for paragraph, so you can see it's very easy. H is for heading, P is for paragraph, and so on and so on. And like we will be able to see how easy it is to remember these things. And in fact, the thing to cram here is how to write them. Is this syntax? This is what you should cram: tag name, content, tag name, and the closing one should have a / there. So let's look at another one, which is the P, paragraph. So we write the P. So it's always best to first format your P like this, and then write a sentence. Okay, you can make another one. So P, always teach yourself how to do this, even if it's a small sentence like this. Just put them one above the other, one above the first one above the other. So, and another trick I want to show you is how to create dummy content. So we have that in here in Visual Studio. So if you want to generate just a bunch of texts, there's something called the lorem text. So if you write that, then press tab on your keyboard, it will generate for you this Latin poem from long ago, which is usually used for dummy text, just for displaying how text will look like on a page, so that you don't have to actually type a lot of things yourself. So you can use that to just get a bunch of text. So, and you saw how I did with enter, because always avoid having to scroll sideways to see your content. So just click where it ends, where your view ends, and press enter to bring it down, like so. Okay, like so. So it's already saved. Let's look at how it looks now on the browser. So this is my first sentence. You can see it has automatically put a space between this and this, because this is a paragraph. So if I put another lorem here, we can be able to see P tag. Another shortcut to create this automatically is typing the tag name P, then pressing tab automatically finishes for you that. Then press enter. So you can see it automatically puts the cursor where you need to type. So you just press enter. Okay, let's try lorem again. So you write lorem, press tab to get that, scroll back, and then chop it up so it can fit on your view. So if it fits on your view, no problem. The only reason mine doesn't fit is that my fonts are too big for visibility. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily generate the same thing, but the first sentence seems to be the same and the rest can be different. Let's see how that looks. So you can see it's separating from paragraph to paragraph. Yeah, so it's like that. Okay, so that's our second tag, which is a paragraph. And next we can look at some formatting tags which are used usually in text. Mostly they are found in word processors like Microsoft Word or any others similar to it. So usually in Microsoft Word we can make text bold, we can make it italics, or we can make it underlined. The same here in HTML, we can do the same. So let's make this sentence here bold and see. So bold is very simple. It's just the letter B. So you surround that with B, then the closing B over here, /B. Okay, so that becomes bold. So that we've surrounded this part and it has become bold. So let's surround the rest with italics and see. Italics is very easy also. It's just an I for italics. /I. Okay. Expand that a bit. And that becomes italics. You can see it's kind of bent to the right a bit. So that's what is meant by italicizing text. Next we can make underline. So we can underline from here all the way to here. So it's just where you wish, the limits. So this up to here. So underline is also very easy. It's just U. Refresh that and you get underlined. At first, this is what we like covering on day one. Nothing much. Just to learn the syntax of how to write an element with how to write the opening tag and the closing tag, or the first and the start and end tag. Okay, so we can add a few more fun tags here just to see some more of them. So for example, what if we wanted to put this maybe somewhere in the center here? So we are going to make another one here and try and center it, and we'll notice something about that. So the tag to center some content is center, and you can see that it's been colored in a different color. This is because these days it's not very often used, and in future it might disappear altogether, because these days we center with something else called CSS, as we shall see when we progress. When we finish up with HTML, we will jump straight into CSS. So anything you put here will be centered. So let's try and center a H1 that says in the middle. Let's see how that looks on our web page. That becomes centered. Okay, there's another one. So this center is actually deprecated. Deprecated means that it's not recommended by the makers of the language, and in future it might get removed altogether. So don't build dependence on it. So there's better ways of centering, as we shall see later. So there's another fun one called the marquee. So whatever you put here will be animated from right to left. So we can write that something here. this text moves across the screen. And when you refresh, you'll see it move. So it will move when it gets to the other end, it will just loop back. So it will do this looping and won't stop till maybe you remove the code. So this is it for the first day of HTML. Just practice on that code. Try and remember how to make the tags, and then for the rest, the tag names, they're very easy. You'll find that you just remember them by doing it more and getting used to it. So see you on the next video. Bye bye.